Good evening and welcome back, everybody. And just for all of you Steve Lennon fans out there, he's not the best at finding the stairs. They were on the other side of the stage, Steve. Well, down to the job at hand. And you've been given a very tough draw against Damon Heta, who is the 15th seed in this tournament. It has been a winless season so far for Damo, but he has had close calls. And a brilliant year of accumulating ranking points as he now makes his way to the top 32 in the world for the first time, Dan Dawson.
Yeah, Damon Heta, a man going places. We saw him, it's probably about this time last year when he was playing absolutely magnificent. He had that great run at the Grand Slam of Darts, only ended by James Wade, were it not for an incredible performance from Wade in that tournament. I think Damon Heta had a very real chance of picking up his first major title. This year, again, consistently, excellent stuff. Only 10 players are averaging more than him over the course of those 30 players championship events. So yeah, it is a winless season in terms of titles, but he's had so many deep runs. Gerwyn Price is his kryptonite. He just cannot beat that guy. Although, to be fair, he's only played Steve Lennon once. That was this year, and he lost that one too. So let's see if he can beat the Irishman for the first time. The stats suggest he's going to. I mean, he's averaging more than Ryan Searle. He's averaging more than Van Dijvenbode this year. And these are guys who we know are playing well enough to win titles.
He is, in fact, the second best in averages for the season on this board this evening. And the top person is Chris Dobey, averaging 98.02 for the year. It's been a real breakout season for Dobey. We'll see him a little bit later on against Willie O'Connor, the World Cup teammate of Damo's opponent here, Steve Lennon.
Yeah, it didn't go well for the two Austrian lads this afternoon, did it? Rusty Jake and Roby John Rodriguez. See if the Irish lads can do any better.
I've just realised why Steve Lennon's shirt is the way it is. Scuba. It's got bubbles on it. He's subscribing to the whole marketing process of being a dart player now. Scuba Lennon.
59.
Generally has. I hadn't spotted that.
I know my friend Niall Culleton's going to be on the phone
59.
pretty soon. I told you so. What is this scuba thing? He's even got a monogram or an illustration on the back of the shirt.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a pair of flippers on there. He's buying into it.
60.
Just hasn't quite got the radar tuned in, Damon, at the moment. Mind you, neither is Steve.
59.
He does get the counting correct, so he is on a finish, Steve Lennon.
He's a really good counter, Steve Lennon. He's incredibly astute. But this is better.
140.
Then we'll try this 167 to try and deny Heta the option of the 56. But it would be a good start without playing well. 56 to break in leg one. And it is tops after that perfect single. Yeah, very good indeed. He will grind you down. That's what he does. Consummate brilliance. But he has that huge level. Personal best average this year of 114. And what's curious to me, Dan, is that from when he picked up his maiden title in Niederhausen last year, he's been using the black-coated darts, but recently he's gone back to the original tungsten stuff that he came to the PDC.
140.
Yeah, I was just having a look at his darts. I'm just looking at them with a naked eye. I don't know if there's any change from the ones he's been throwing. Maybe it's just the lighting in here. He's always had very long points and then quite fat, chunky barrels. It kind of cancels each other out in many respects. But I'll hold my hands up. When I first saw Damon Heta, you know, playing on the World Series, winning that World Series title, winning that, I think it was the Australasian Masters, wasn't it? Or was it whichever one it was in the WDF system?
Yeah, he won the
Oceanic Masters?
He won the Australian Open in Moama.
Right.
Which was against Scott Mitchell in the final, I believe, on the border between Victoria and New South Wales. But that was just before he played in Brisbane.
That was right, yeah. So he'd won that. because the font of darting knowledge, little Richard, was there saying, "You got to watch this guy," and then he went on and won that World Series event. And I thought, look, this is a guy who is obviously a very tidy player, but he's got the bottle, if you like. He's got the guts to take out those big shots when it really matters. I thought that's what his game was. I didn't think he could score as well as he can. He has really surprised me over the last 2 years with just how big, how heavy he can hit. He's in the top 10 for 180s hit on the Players' Championship Series. I know he's played a lot of games, but he hits them very, very regularly. And is this going to be one of those big shots? Those big combo finishes? No. No, it's not.
He will have fancied that one.
83.
First start was pinpoint.
153.
Lennon's got to get close to this. Got to leave it handy.
59. Damon, you require
Because Heta's going to pick
78.
off shots like this all day long. Very much like his namesake, Dennis Ovens. These are the kind of shots that he would pick off in his career.
38.
Luckily for Lennon, he now has the option of the bull on 94. What's he going to do?
Goes aggressive. And does
54.
not get a dart.
Damon, you require 40.
So Heta returns looking at tops for a 2-0 lead.
And 2-0 it is. He will be happy just to get through tonight. This is a bit of a slippery slope, Steve Lennon, but you have to say that his year hasn't been as fruitful or as encouraging as some other seasons. But I've got to get someone off my chest, Dan. I am a huge Damon Heta. I think I'm one of the biggest Damon Heta fans. I've actually said this to him and he was a bit embarrassed by it. But I just love his game. I love his technique. I love the way he approaches the game with such a great professional attitude. But he's made one big mistake so far. When he plays at Ali Pali, he has got to walk out to D-Ream. Things can only get better because the crowd will start singing, things will only get Heta. You get these opportunities very rarely in your career.
Yeah.
Take it.
Absolutely. I fully on board. For once, I agree with you, Paul Newson.
If your nickname's Scuba, what do you walk out there?
I've got no idea.
Jaws?
Genuinely no idea. He's a player in general who puzzles me a little, Steve Lennon. He's one of those prime candidates for players you look at and go, oh, he's a great player. He can do this, that, and the other. But then you think, oh, there's lots of them. There's lots and lots and lots of them.
139.
And we think, oh, he'd be top 32. Well, yeah, but you say that about 48, 64 players. And there's only room for so many.
He's now in that bracket between, say, 40 and 60 in the world,
100.
where they're treading water, no pun intended. Damo's almost at the halfway point here. He's going to fancy this now, especially if the first dart is just above that 60 bed. Right there, he can bounce this in. Didn't need the bouncer.
An Australian didn't need bouncer.
No, he needs a Yorker, and that's a corker. 3-0 Heta.
2 breaks of throw.
Game on.
Scuba Steve sinking without trace at the minute, I'm afraid.
No one's going to hand you some extra oxygen, that's for sure.
120.
Damo wants to suffocate him. And we haven't had a 6-0 today on this board. And let's face it, we don't want to see 6-0s. We want to see close games.
I don't mind seeing a 6-0 if somebody really goes out there and 610 average, but we haven't really... there aren't many players who've seen hit top gear. We've seen some very good displays. Schindler certainly stands out.
Danny Noppert was brilliant.
Danny Noppert was excellent.
96.
Brendan Dolan and Ross Smith were both clinical in how they went about their business, but we've not seen anybody go absolutely berserk as yet.
100.
And you saw Damon Heta in the last leg just blowing on his hands. I don't think Red Spar here is quite as cold as it is on the main stage, but it's not the perfect conditions for playing darts. It's obviously perfectly fine to play darts. I've seen plenty of great darts played over the course of this. And even if it is suboptimal, it's down to you to deal with it better than the other guy.
Bring gloves.
Yeah.
Bring the undergarments to warm your body up or your arms. That's what players have done in the past, including myself. Justin Pipe used to play it in the sleeves as well. These are the adjustments you need to make when you come to Minehead. It's cold this time of year, and it's really cold because of a storm coming in.
It's probably warmed up a little tonight compared to this afternoon once you've had bodies in there for long periods, particularly Red's bar here. But big moments coming up in this game as Heta looks at the 19s. 20 segment. Bullseye for 4-0.
64. Stevie requires 74.
That was close. Steve Lennon hasn't had much of a look in this game. Can that change now? Things could change now because 3-1 is a darn sight better than 4-0.
People like Steve to
That is a breaker throw as well.
Steve Lennon's going to be at the World Championship.
And
oh, how he would love to go there and have a somewhat easy match after his frivolities in the past with last leg deciders with Callan Ridds and Alan Norris. They will have aged him, those two games, and both times
81.
I saw him leaving that stage crestfallen. It's a horrible feeling when you've been through that, not once but twice.
Yeah, I remember
95.
vividly him and Michael Smith having an incredible game of darts with 180, an enormous number of 180s from the pair of them. I think that was the year that Michael Smith then went on to miss match darts against Rob Cross. Steve Lennon hasn't really had any
60.
fortune at Ali Pali. But what about Damon Heta? Damon Heta now into the top 32 in the world. I mean, if he used to go to Ali Pali and win his opening game against who knows, you know, a qualifier, whoever it is, I mean, he's going to go up against one of the very, very big boys, one of the big three. And Damon Heta is quite capable of beating MVG or Peter
100.
Wright or Yoan Price if he happens to be number 32. He's going to be an awful person to face in the draw for someone.
Last couple of years he's had some awful draws.
59.
He got Danny Baggish last year and he lost. And Damon would agree that he didn't play well. But the year before that he was given Jose de Souza.
Yes.
And he won 3-0. A somewhat perplexing game, but you're absolutely right. The pitfalls of being around 31, 32, you're going to get Peter Wright or get him in Price.
64.
It's almost better to be 33 having to play an extra game.
138.
Things are changing. Lennon is starting to find a bit of a groove. It's all well and good getting this start, but you have to maintain that lead. And we don't have to look too far to find an example of that. Bunting and Anderson, other stage, about half an hour ago.
Aces there, back-to-back legs for Ireland's Steve Lennon. A little bit more purpose in the stride.
What's the weirdest nickname you've ever seen in darts, Dan? You've been around long enough now. Scuba Steve is definitely up there.
Scuba Steve is weird. I mean, Mensur being called the Gentle doesn't make a great deal of sense. You want to know one of the poorest nicknames in darts, in my opinion, in that it's just a nothing nickname. Doesn't mean anything, not linked to anything. It's one you hear all the time. Top 16 player. Joe Cullen, the rock star. What's that mean? You know, you don't play any music. What is it? Nothing, is it?
100.
Incredible player.
If you're going to have a nickname like the rock star, you walk out to Rock and Roll Star by Oasis.
There's no, I mean, just something. Just something. But it's just
I think it was a nickname he was lumbered with.
Yeah, and it's
by
just
either a darts manufacturer in the early part of his development tour career, and he just stuck with it. But yeah, I'm on board with that. It's a bit like Mark Webster being called Spider. He hates it.
I mean, look, it saves us from
56.
Webby. which is very much the Chizzy school of nicknames. 6 starts from here for Damon Heta, just to try and get a grip on this game. He'll stay in that treble 20, or at least try to. Could go bull.
99.
He does like double 16 with 1 dart left. He is probably up with Brendan Dolan in that sort of elite category. He's one of the best double 16 executioners with 1 dart on a combo in the world. He has made win after win happen on double 16 after hitting something else. And of course he misses it. Commentator's curse and Lennon for 3 straight. But it's not simple.
So I had a great one of those earlier, Paul. It's about time you were due one as well.
98. Damon, you require 32.
But he definitely won't miss 3 more at it.
Good
call, Dan, good call. But I tell you what, that little puff of the cheeks from you, I think that symbolises what Damon was feeling. He let Steve Lennon in there. It's a tied game, and all of a sudden, that gap is gone.
Well,
93.
It's just hard work, isn't it, for the pair of them? The averages are in the mid-80s. That's 10 points off what Damon Heta is accustomed to averaging over the course of the year. And yes, he did have a little dip in form in recent weeks. Completely understandable following the sad loss of his mate, Kyle Anderson. But he actually finished the Pro Tour quite strongly. Had a run to the semi-finals of the penultimate event. Played some really good stuff. I think George was winding up. Was he winding up for the 180 there and then withdrew?
That was a great save. Great save, George. That was Schmeichel-esque.
I think even Steve Lennon was walking to the ball to retract it and had to retrieve his darts. Thought he was winding up for the 180. Had a look at George and then he's just gone 40.
43.
Not exactly a 127 in game.
No, not quite.
Or a rare mistake from Kirk Bevins that we got this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look. Difficult conditions for everybody.
He's just starting to become a bit more pinpoint around that lipstick now.
140.
He's found something, whether it's just a slight increase in pace. And he is really good at developing something when he needs
96.
it.
See, a little purple patch, and you can get over the line and make this what was looking a very sort of awkward slog battle of a game which go either way. He could make it look very easy and comfortable. He's not going to take the 161, and that's an annoying dart.
129.
Yeah, that dart is really annoying. But this would be annoying even more. And it wasn't close.
86.
And by virtue of hitting that one with his last dart, Heta now is looking at 83 instead of 64. Oh, but look at this. Great save. Double 8.
67.
And neither were close.
Stevie require 43.
Oh, that's a long way short. And that's
23.
quite a long way wide, and he shakes
Damon,
his
you
head,
require
Steve Lennon,
16.
because there have been little opportunities here and there.
He's on the 7 flag. Damon Heta.
Sometimes you've got to eke it out, though, and that's exactly what Damon is doing right now. I've played on this stage. I've played in other parts of this building where I've played poorly, but ground out a result. And sometimes you just got to do that. That'll do. That's when you want to hit 180s. When you're serving for the match, you say to your opponent, it doesn't matter what you do, I'm taking control. It's not a bad backup shot as well. It forces Lennon to get 2 big trebles to stay in touch. And he's not going to do that. So control remains in the corner of Heta. I wonder who's going to have control in the next game. Rids against Sulevic. Oh, yeah. All over that game. But this game is very close to being over because 2 180s in this leg from Heta have given him 41 to finish it off.
Well, A very, very strong leg here from Damon Heta.
140.
Lennon is on a finish.
41.
I mean, an 11 darter here would put some gloss on this result for the Australian. And a 12 darter certainly does that. A 6-2 victory for Damon Heta. Still work to do to improve if he is going to go on a deep run, you would feel, this weekend. But he drags his average up into the low to mid 90s. Finally, a big smile breaks out across his face as he gets the job done, when for periods of that match it looked like it hung in the balance. As it is, Heta is through to round 2. Coming up, the Riot and the Gentle, Callan Ridds and Mensur Suljovic.